Nice.
We are. Yep.
So what are they looking at? What would they be looking at exactly? Me and that, right?
Yes. Yeah. So what we have here, I can bring it up real quick. Zoom in.
Put it on now. They all know. Suzanne, let them know it's right now. Sorry?
John has no cheese somehow.
You could go on YouTube.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, you can go on YouTube, and I was like, then I'll call you tomorrow. Give you Bill had something that was
Works.
Yeah, the streets are like the city. People go through them stop signs. You got to do. Just go through these little stop signs. People go right through them. I haven't seen a cop on here for over 6 months. I'm gonna say,
Bear in mind, we're zoomed in on time.
I think so.
Like our phone, we don't want that to be. Mine, my pocket.
Here's Tom. 29. 629. Long ass.
The way he walked in, everything he walked
We got
in.
We had them all set.
Tom,
That better? No, it's working.
Suzanne, you know the guy in the front seat? You know the guy sitting in the front seat? You know him? Huh?
What's that?
No, not the other guy. You don't know him? He came in here and he looked like you. That's
Oh, okay, all right.
huh? What's that?
We're still time.
Yes.
I'll go grab the, I'm gonna go get yours.
No, right there.
All right, it is 6:30 whenever you want to. Yeah, that's
You
fine.
understand? Yeah.
Question is, if you get the answer, so the question is, it's an information.
All right, I'm back on.
Did the gentleman make it in yet?
They're working, she was working hard. He's not people.
Did you see school?
What's that? No, she's right there. You see?
Okay, let's send it. I don't know where it's at yet.
Yeah.
That's good. Don't do anything.
You want me to move a chair back there for that?
You know what? They just offer you one.
Hello, everyone. We're gonna get started. My name is Suzanne Brittis. I'm president of council. And as promised by council and the mayor, we're having a meeting tonight to address construction-related issues for neighbors who are directly adjacent and close by to the Clifton Field project. But before we get started, I do have an announcement. A few weeks ago, we met with some residents on Oak Avenue and Springfield Road related to some specific traffic issues. And we were looking to have PennDOT approve some modifications to the traffic plan. And we did this afternoon hear from Sarah from Tim Kearney's office. She spoke with our borough manager, Tom McCosey, and let us know that with accepted conditions, they're willing to allow us to remove the left-hand turn lane from the plan. So we did accept those conditions, and we're just waiting for the final documentation from PennDOT saying this is signed, sealed, and approved, but we had some positive movement, so we wanted to share that with you tonight. So I'm gonna turn this over to our borough manager, Tom McCosey.
Thank you, Suzanne. First, I'd like to just have everyone up here because a lot of people don't understand all these gentlemen are here. Chief, you want to start?
Tim Rockenbach, Chief of Police.
J.P. Kelly, Borough Engineer.
Howard Shresnick, First Ward.
Mark J. Campbell, Mayor.
John McBlain, I'm the borough's attorney.
I'm Suzanne Britis, Council President.
John Gorman, Councilman, Fourth Ward.
Brett Swan, Councilman, First Ward.
Bruce Fagioli, Councilman of the Second Ward.
Chris Ponarelli, Borough Secretary.
John Gould, Director of Community Development, Emergency Management Coordinator.
Okay. Thank you for coming. I just want to identify one glitch in the whole operation. We hand-billed everybody's house in the affected areas. It's 425 homes that we've identified out of directly proximity to the property, and the streets that we believe are going to be affected in some way during the construction project. So that's who's in the room tonight. We hand-billed it at first, and then we had a letter, postcard you saw hand-delivered today. It should have been mailed by the United States Post Office from Saturday, and you should have received it Tuesday. You'll probably get it next month sometime. I have no idea. We can't find it somewhere down in Philadelphia. But we wanted to make sure that we got that out today. We are on YouTube, so just remember whatever you say gets picked up. Also for the audience sometimes, it also comes up here. So we are live on YouTube, and this can be viewed in the future on YouTube, on Clifton Heights YouTube channel. To begin with, as everybody knows, the Upper Ark Middle School construction is to begin soon. It's approved by Delaware County Common Pleas Court back on March 16, 2022. Pre my arrival, it had been going on 3 or 4 years before that in the courts. Next slide. So the agreement status, I'm going to have John McBlain escort our solicitor, bring you up to date from when we did the settlement to what all the things that happened up to this point to get the construction started.
Tom, thank you. And so I'll just catch up very briefly. The last time we had large crowds get together with this was back at the end of 2021 when we were still going through the planning process and there was still litigation ongoing. As you know, at the end of 2021, we reached an agreement with the school district to allow for the construction of the middle school. And part of that agreement was, or a big part of the agreement was that about half the property where the fields are, will be deeded to the borough. They'll be improved through this process. We'll have brand new playing fields, all new modern construction. And then at that point, that back half of the property will be split off, will be deeded to the borough. It will be ours. We will own it for forever. And we will be responsible for taking care of it for forever. So that was a big breakthrough. But also, there was what they call a land development plan. And the land development plan is the document that puts everything down on paper to know what will be built, how it will be built, what processes, everything from traffic to sewers, to storm sewers, to grading and all that sort of thing. So we didn't have an agreement at that time, but we agreed that we would work to get to the point where we would have a final land development plan that could be signed off and recorded with the county. So basically from about March of 2022, when the judge signed the order, it took the lawyers a couple of months to put all the documents together. A judge approved it in March of 2022. And since that time, the school district has been working to complete this land development plan to make sure that there's adequate storm sewers, sanitary sewers. The grading plan will be there. The traffic issues that we had concerned about would be met. as well as things like, where the building would be situated, emergency services and all that sort of thing. So our borough engineer worked with the district's engineers. The first engineer that, if any of you came to the meetings before, that was here for the district, they were kind of slow going. And about halfway through the process, or maybe about a year ago, the district replaced its engineer and brought in a new firm to pick it up. And since that time, they've made significant progress in terms of moving things along. The stormwater management plans, there'll be a new stormwater management system because they are required to deal with all the water that falls onto that property, either contain it on the property or arrange for some off-site stormwater management. So it'll be a combination of both. They will have stormwater management retention basins on the property, but also they're going to have to construct a storm sewer system that comes from Oak and Springfield down Springfield and connects with the large main at the corner of Baltimore and Springfield. So we've all seen during really heavy rainstorms where there's not a stormwater pipe that is on Springfield Road. There will be here going out. So that will help not only for the school property, but for the rest of that stretch of road. So that was a significant design issue for them to get over the hurdle. And so eventually they did do that. The sanitary, there will be the equivalent of what we call equivalent dwelling units, meaning they would be about the amount of water that they would put out every day is going to be about the equivalent of 15 houses, right? 15 EDUs. So they have to go through a process to have that approved, not only by the borough, but by what they call the Darby Creek Joint Authority, which is the 12 towns where we send our sewage to, that eventually gets sent to Chester to be processed, or Philadelphia to be processed. So the Darby Creek Joint Authority had to approve it, as well as up to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection would have to approve the addition of those 15 EDUs into our system. So that took, again, a lot of design work on the school district's part. Eventually they did it with about a month ago, maybe now. They finally got the approvals from DEP and Darby Creek Joint Authority for the sanitary sewer system. The other outside issues were the traffic issues. We had concerns at the time of the settlement regarding several areas. One was the corner of Sycamore and Springfield, how that was going to be handled. And as you've probably seen, what they did was they acquired that property on the corner, the old upholstery shop. That's been demolished. A lot of that will be widened for Sycamore Avenue in order to handle the cars and buses and whatnot to come out there. Not buses, because buses stay on Springfield Road. But to handle the traffic that comes out there. We also wanted to make sure that we preserve the parking in certain areas, especially up in the, on Springfield Road, just above Oak Avenue, for all the shops that were there, because the district's original plans called for creating more turn lanes, which is a good thing, but the road isn't going to get any more widened there. So we wanted to make sure that the parking was preserved for those businesses, and it was designed in such a way to do that. They've been able to accomplish that in collaboration with the borough and PennDOT. So there will be, all that parking will be preserved there. We just recently had the issue, as the president indicated, about North Oak Avenue and what came in as a left-hand turn lane sort of at the last minute from PennDOT. And it looks like we've been able to advocate that that will not be included in the last plans. So that's important for people who live in that first block, so that they can both have parking and that they can back out of their driveways. So the traffic issues are all on their way to being resolved. And then the plan itself, the engineer has gone over and, as of about the end of April, we signed off, or the engineer signed off on, says, yes, this plan, it'll be a slide later on, is adequate. We think this meets all the requirements under the law for the construction of the building. So with that, a phase of this comes to an end, what they call the land development process, basically the planning process. We're at the end of that process. We're happy, with what they have designed, or by happy, we mean that we believe what they've designed and presented to us is within the bounds of the law. It's within what the borough subdivision land development ordinance requires, what the county subdivision land development ordinance requires, and what those outside agencies require. So with that, once the planning process is done, they may move to the construction process. And that's why we wanted to have the meeting with you, because they do want to move, and they want to move soon. Back in January, the district began the process of letting the contracts. So they have that, and that's coming up where they've got to finalize that. But I think they're looking to start, fairly soon. So before, this seemed like a natural time to get everybody together, explain where we are, answer any questions, and move forward, get your input, make sure any concerns are addressed. Anything else, Tommy, you wanted me to cover?
Stick around.
Okay.
Thanks. So we have a presentation just to kind of feel, just my experience doing this, plus hearing from residents around town. I kind of put most of what I think concerns are, and then we'll open it up to questions. So under stormwater management, what John was talking to, go back one, Jim. Go ahead. Go to the next one. Phase 1 begins. So secure the site with fencing and entrance gates. That's the first thing you're going to see. So all of Springfield Road will be fenced off for sidewalks. They'll require people with signage to cross the street on the westbound side to walk up to some areas in those areas. The reason for that is all during that there's work on there. There's a main entrance with truck traffic that's going to go right about where the driveway is now. So we really don't want children, or next year when the school opens up, that is a drop-off point for the school. And we want to give the children a habit of staying on the right side of the road during this construction project for their safety. All the way around, the fences that are existing, and then additional fencings will be added. The entire site will be secure throughout the construction projects. We will continue to monitor and bait the sewers and open fields throughout the area, monitor and continue enforcement of high grass, debris, wood piles to assist the rodent control. So pre this, we already have a rodent control problem in the walls up there and some of the areas around the sewers. And some, to be quite honest with you, to be perfectly blunt, some of the residents that are causing some of the issues. So over the last 3 or 4 weeks, there's a high concentration of enforcement notices, mainly notices first, non-compliance letters, and then in some cases, just outright fines. So what are we looking at? John looks for wood piles behind sheds. It took a tree down, you didn't remove it, it just piled up in the back of the shed. Trash and debris, open trash cans, just papers stowed around, just general disorder of a house, high grass and weeds. Rats can't survive unless they have food. So if we remove the food source and we begin this process, obviously there's going to be problems. So what's going to have to happen is the entrance to the parking lot and monitor it and do it. What's going to have to happen, the residents are going to have to partake in some of this. We're going to do our part for the borough, but we're not permitted to handle anything with the residents' private property. School district's going to be required on their boundaries at the furthest point of their property to bait continuously all the way now, all the way through the process. So if we have issues, communication is key. Let us know here in the borough. Off Springfield Road, they're going to have a PennDOT. They've given a PennDOT for permanent trucks and deliveries. I said that again cuts into the lower field and the upper field earth movement. I'm going to turn that to JP to try to explain it with that.
Sure. Do you want me to stand up? The first thing that they're going to do is, once the temporary fence is installed, they're going to install silt fence, ENS controls, erosion and sediment controls. That's ENS. They're going to install diversion berms and diversion swales to control stormwater. It's important that no sediment or erosion or anything takes effect and runs onto Springfield Road. It will be inspected on a daily basis. It'll be inspected through our office. It'll be inspected through Delaware County Conservation District office also, and probably more frequently than other sites, folks from DEP will be on site also inspecting the property for erosion, sediment control, and discharge, and things like that. So once the silt fence and silt socks, which are large tubes, are installed is when the earthwork starts. And that's when they start bulk site grading. So where the site is going to be greatly disturbed around where the school itself is going to be constructed and towards the back, you're going to see a lot of earth movement there. There's a spot on the site further towards the back and to the right that they're going to stockpile topsoil. Once all the topsoil is installed there, that's when they're going to hay and seed that, so you have less sediment runoff from the topsoil stockpile. That's going to take a decent amount of time. Once those issues are addressed and concerned, then they start more fine development of the stormwater system, swales, and permanent berms. Once the PennDOT permit is ultimately issued, and we certainly hope it's soon, is when the off-site work can begin. So ultimately, the primary discharge of all the stormwater, other than perking into the earth, will be discharged into a new stormwater system, which was just discussed by Mr. McLean and Mr. McCosey. So, and then when that's done, they grade the entire site with a fine grade, and it will be graded, seeded, and mulched. And then the construction of the building starts after that.
We had questions last week on particular swales, the type of swales and things that we're using.
Well, this picture here is a swale, but that's along the side of a road with an inlet. But it would ultimately look something similar to that. But towards the back of the site, you're going to see some depressions, which are called basins. The deepest one, I believe, is 3.5 feet. So they're not deep, but they control stormwater and accumulate stormwater in them as they infiltrate into the earth. They have points of discharge, and most of the points of discharge, or all of them, ultimately have a riser and a point of discharge, which discharge into an existing stormwater system or the new one on Springfield. So it's controlled stormwater. We're not going to have additional runoff. The stormwater model that's been developed, they did testing for the site, and they modeled the stormwater, which has gone through my office. It's gone through the Delaware County Conservation District office, and then through DEP also. In order to disturb this much earth, anything greater than an acre requires a federal permit, NPDES permit. So they do have their federal permit to disturb the earth. It's a complicated stormwater system. They call them BMPs, best management practices, which is a combination of issues like I just mentioned. So a combination of your temporary silt fence, things like that, your permanently installed stormwater control facilities like swales, basins, and then discharge boxes and piping, things like that. And sometimes, and in one of our cases, there's there's an amended soil. So they've got to change the soil and amend the soil to increase the perk rate so that all the stormwater is controlled on site. In any given land development, you'll see throughout the Commonwealth, you're not allowed to discharge any more stormwater than is being discharged before it's disturbed. So you're going to add all this increase of impervious coverage, you still cannot discharge more than what's currently being discharged. In this case, it's going to be greatly less. Delaware County passed a 167 study years ago, and they're constantly tweaking that 167 study, which says your 2-year storm discharge has to be reduced to your 1-year storm rate of discharge. So it's going to be less stormwater that comes off that site.
Can we see where they're going to be on the map?
Do you have that, John?
Next one up.
These things,
Next up.
where you reference like the back of the project.
Yeah. So I wish I was a little taller.
Here,
But I'm
John, tell them where you're looking at.
Towards the back, John, where you see the shaded area. Yeah, right there where that's a basin. There's several basins that you'll see back here.
That's where the brick wall is right now on Winfield Avenue.
Yeah, there's a stone wall back
Is
there.
that going to stay there, that stone wall?
It
Is
does.
that- okay.
It does stay there.
See.
It does.
Are those collection basins permanent, or are they only for direct
That's our
construction?
house.
The basins back there are permanent. They're about 3.5 feet. It's going to be like you saw the grass picture, so it's going to be seeded. It's not going to be holding stormwater for more than 24 hours.
They remain permanent, correct?
They do, in the back. And then below grade, below the parking lot area, there's a below grade retention system. There's going to be another system here. The first thing you're probably going to see during construction, other than the fence and silt fence and things like that, is a sediment basin that's going to go where the building was removed. That's the first largest basin that you're going to see constructed. It's up and towards the middle. Well, it's towards right where the cursor is right now. Yeah. It's in the middle of the site, so it can be respread or reused.
Okay, good. What we're gonna do is, if we're coming back, because during the slides, a lot of this comes up. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. Good. All right, don't go for it. Good.
So phase 2, off-site work on Springfield Road from Baltimore Pike to Sycamore Avenue begins on the east side stormwater pipe installation. So that's on the diner side of Springfield Road, heading up it's on the field side, that's the east side. Work includes inlet sidewalks and curbing, and residents along this corridor will be notified by the contractor prior to them working there. Springfield Road traffic light modification intersection configurations also may begin in this process. That's at Sycamore when they widen the intersection. Springfield, I know there's wires that need to be pulled, there's stanchions for the traffic lights have to be included in that. It's off-site work that they can fill in time with. As of this date, there has been no final PennDOT approval for this work. Plans for the Springfield Road drainage at Sycamore Avenue and Church Street intersections have been reviewed with no changes. So Church Street will be remodified. We have those triangle or street lines that will be brought in as a reasonable intersection, so you don't have cars going everywhere. Oak Avenue intersection, left-hand turning lane, you heard Susan say that, and traffic light northbound appears to be acceptable by PennDOT to be eliminated, and we're waiting on final communication from the Secretary of Transportation. Next slide.
Tom, can I make a comment about the Springfield Road?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if we're done with that corridor, but what the district will be required to do to build that stormwater pipe that goes from the school down Springfield Road to hook up with the big one in Baltimore. To do that, it's going to be a lot of work. All the utilities that are underground there need to be dealt with. But at the end of that process, what we think likely PennDOT is going to require them to do is replace the sidewalks and curbs going down on that side, basically from Sycamore down to Baltimore. And also the half of the road would be repaved where it would be there. Council did, as they thought about that, said, you know, it's that part of it's going to be great, but we want to make sure that that corridor is improved totally at the same time. So they did go out and get a grant from the state of $1.7 million. Yeah, in order to do basically the other side, to do sidewalks and curbs and make sure the other side of Springfield Road will be repaved. So we should, at the end of all of this process, you know, from that Sycamore Avenue to Baltimore Pike corridor there, have completely new sidewalks, curbs, and paved cartway, as well as, you know, new inlets and storm sewer underneath there.
So now we're into the construction phase. But I can tell you from experience, construction projects are never going to cause dust and dirt. Everyone knows that, even if you did something in your house, right? The contractor is required to provide a means and method to curtail this concern. JP's reviewed the construction documents. That includes the SOX he talked about, making sure that there's a street sweeper on site, entrance and exit stones that take the mud off the tires so they're not riding through the streets, and also water spray if it's a dusty day, wetting down the dirt to the point where it's just keeping the dust down, but it's not creating a mud hole. Are we going to have issues? It's a big construction project, certain. Are they going to have to address them? John Gould and I have met, and JP with the project manager. Between them and us, we'll be on it every morning. If there's a rainstorm, we'll be out here. So we'll know what's going on. And then what happens is the construction contract, DEP regulations, DEP monitors this, Department of Environmental Protection, as well as the Soil Conservation District of Delaware County monitors this as well. Clifton Heights ordinances, local ordinances come into play also. We're in touch with them every day. And if anybody saw the project down across from Kmart, the R2K project, that's the same contractor who has an excellent record with us, that now was awarded this contract. He bid it and he likes the area, and he's been excellent. If we had an issue, he was taken care of right away. So we have good experience, good communication. We're not, like, just established a new relationship. He's been with us 2.5 years now. Next. Our famous roads, right? So we talked about, I did have a picture of a rat up here, but I thought it was like a little appropriate. So, the contract is required to provide bait boxes for the entire site prior to start any work, and throughout the project that we talked about, has been providing randomized abatement measures, particularly in storm inlets. That is, I got a couple of calls on that. That's the effective way of doing it. Kids can't get down there, dogs can't get down there, rodents can't get down there. You gotta remember where you live. I've lived in Westbrook Park all my life. When they built Westbrook Park, either it was Westbrook Park up at Arby or Clifton Heights, all water runs downhill, right? So let's pipe it and make it go faster than the creek. Well, the problem is at the end of that pipe is the creek. So it's like an exit, like the highway to Seven Oaks, Windcliff, they all those sewers there interconnect with the creeks. We just did a big project on Sycamore to clear the roadway because we had some hazard and some accidents down there. So obviously you disturb the woods, you disturb the roads where they go, it's one stop up, and guess what I talk about? You have food source, right? So rather than chase, something around the creek, let's go up and have McDonald's or whatever's up there. The next one is the borough will continue this abatement measures throughout our construction activities. We have a contract exterminator that works with us. We put him on contract for that area to continue to abate it consistently all the way through the construction project. As well as he suggested homeowners, if you don't have exterminator, Terminex or one of them, and if you have one, continue it. If you don't, and I would explain to them what's going on. And if you don't, I would at least get some bait boxes, Home Depot, wherever, put them around your outside. Make sure all your entrances, doorways, windows, all that, whatever you can get in your house, cracks in the concrete block, seal them up. The borough continues to inspect areas for high grass, wood piles, and debris. So I can't emphasize that enough. We're here to work with you. If we all work together, we should be able to solve this problem. I do know, and we've chased it for years, that stone walls up there are embedded with rodents. So, and they're getting food from a lot of residents do have vegetable gardens this time of year, and they love root type vegetables, onions, those kind of things. They're in the ground. Next. So traffic. Routine and detour. Routine traffic flow will be interrupted where we do not anticipate road closures in the plans that we have seen. So Springfield Road, if they're working on the pipe, you're going to be split between 2 lanes with flaggers. We also issued a memo from the police department. The police chief has to approve all traffic flow, and if he feels that there's a danger, we'll put a police car on it, and the school district the contractor would have to pay us to have that. Examples would be flaggers in the area to redirect work. All lane closure and work requires approval by PennDOT, Clifton Heights Police Chief, in coordination with my office. Next. Security. We had some concerns about, construction sites are an attractive nuisance for any kids, right? I mean, everybody wants to play with a bulldozer when you're young. However, it's dangerous. It's going to be a dangerous site. So the school district is providing cameras throughout the site 24/7 that will activate automatically if it picks up any movement on the site. In conjunction, the borough's we'll be adding camera locations for exterior pole location. We're going to look to cover Sycamore, Windcliff, Springfield, Revere, and Oak Avenue back to the police station. So any activity that the school district has and we have, and Chief and I have a meeting next week with the district to see if we can coordinate the expense between the two. Their system's pretty sophisticated. It's kind of like the one you see in Home Depot parking lot. It's on a trailer and it picks up. It's monitored 24/7. There's also some security reasons for themselves. Contractors get equipment stolen. There's going to be a lot of high dollar equipment and materials on that site. And obviously increasing, this is for the future while the school is being built and after the school. Council, the mayor, myself, and the chief deal with this every day. The increased activity at the school also increased the police activity and calls for service. As many of you know, my former role as a mayor up at Arby, I had up at Arby High School 2 middle schools. Middle schools will create calls and activity just for the nature that they are. My kid didn't get picked up from school, 2 kids get in a fight on the corner, you name it. We have 2 police officers on the shift every day. To enhance the borough's efforts in this regard, a grant application was applied and approved by council through the federal COPS program. This program provides funds through a 3-year period for police officers. The borough received the highest award in the state of Pennsylvania at $519,000 to hire 2 full-time police officers. The council will allocate future budgets to ensure funding will be allocated after the 4-year period. So basically what we're going to do, while the feds are paying for that, council in my budget presentation will be adding a third to the budget, so there's not a severe impact on the budget 4 years out to be able to pay for the police officers. So it's a great grant. We're in the process of hiring 2 officers right now. Noise ordinance, this comes up all the time, but Clifton Borough Building Construction, Chapter 210 Noise Ordinance, any erection, including excavation, demolition, altercation of construction, or repair of any building other than between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m., except in case of urgent necessity in the interest of public health and safety is prohibited. So that's their hours. Their hours are probably going to be 7 to 3 construction hours. There could be some type of an emergency water main break, whatever happens, we'll be notified with the residents. We are signing up with the county's Everbridge system that we can pretty much, the chief will be able to target right to a street opposed to an entire town getting a notice as we do now. Next. Damages, we've had this come up in the last meeting. Residents have expressed concern over the risks associated with heavy equipment work. JP and I have discussed this. He's reviewed. We don't have, this isn't Glenwood Avenue, which would be a really concern because it's all rock. I mean, pretty much we don't see too much of the, it's actually a fill site in the back.
Yeah, there's no evidence that there's rock outcrops and they didn't test bores.
So, yeah, so we said earlier, the bottom's going to the top, and that's where they're going to stockpile in the beginning. So I don't see any movement around the houses on Revere, Sycamore, up in that section that JP and I have identified. However, if you have any, if I'm you and you live there, I live here, I would take photos of your foundations, both exterior and interior. I would date those, just buy a Daily Times or get something with a date marker on it, so it's actual. And then if there's an issue or concern, I can talk to the school district today, they're gonna have that 789-7200. I would contact them, and you can contact the council person, my office, just so we know there's a communication going on, see if we can assist you. Okay. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna open up the questions now. I'm gonna go from here up and down. It's the best way to do it. We do use Robert's rules here to try to keep civil and also timing. So normally I'm going to question it, I'll answer it. If we don't know the answer, we'll write it down. John or Chris will write it down, and we'll take your name and number after the meeting, and we'll get you the answer. We don't have all the answers, but pretty much with the skill sets at this table, we should be able to address it. So, if you give me your address if you have a question, so I know where we're looking at, if you have one, or if you don't. Not to put you on the spot, you got to come back. Okay.
Well, I mean, I think you covered a lot of things, but me and my wife's like continued concern. It's sort of related, but not really. Is that people on Oak Avenue just set along. When we were coming here tonight, we came this close to getting hit by some joker. Straight like the international speedways. I mean.
I got it. Yeah, it's high traffic, I got it. By the way, I happen to live on Oak Avenue, so they're probably past my house before they got to here. The stop signs, the chief can put the cars on stop signs. It's really local enforcement at a local level without the tools necessary to do it. We don't have speed guns like the state police do. We probably wouldn't be able to use them there because there's a stop sign every 12 feet. So we can ask the chief to send some enforcement.
Are you talking above Springfield Road?
We live right near the south.
Okay, so you're between Baltimore and Springfield.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, we can address that.
thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm third generation Westbrook Park from Clifton. So you guys realize that we do not want the school. And I'm glad science is going to play a factor on you building that school because it's going to be very hard to build it on a hill like that. So
Okay.
I'm glad that you're going to run into that issue because we really don't want this school. My Pop-Up went to Clifton Heights High School. My mom grew up in Clifton Heights, and I grew up in the Westford Park section of Clifton Heights. And I can speak for everyone in Westford Park and Clifton Heights who are truly from that area, not just moved here recently. We don't want the school,
I
all
understand.
right? And I've actually went to school for business, and I've taken sociology, I've taken urban studies. Like, I understand that people going through the school system, generally speaking, in this country is low because they were born during the Great Recession when people didn't have money to start a family and whatnot. So I don't know where these numbers are coming from, but you could always talk to Southeast Delco. You could talk to whatever other school districts and find a building, and you could have capitalized on where Kmart used to be or where the new Wawa used to be. Like, this is where the arguments have been happening, where if you build a school where the Wawa is now, they could walk up to Clifton Field and use the field. It's that simple. You're pissing people who are truly from Clifton and Westford Park off about this school that doesn't belong there. And plus, if the school district was smart enough, they would know they need a second high school more than they need a middle school.
I got it.
Because I went to Upward, I went there when there was over 4,000 kids.
Here's the problem. We all agree with your argument. The problem is, if you saw the first slide,
Yeah.
there's a gentleman in a black robe that hit a gavel and said, they have a right to do it. We appealed it. There's nothing we can do
Well,
about
I'm
it.
glad science is going to get in their way.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I got a question about the rats.
Yes.
How long's that been going on? Because I'm on Wycliffe, and I've yet to see a rat
Well,
there since
at the-
'92.
Okay.
Seriously. You know what
I
mean?
can
It's
tell you
gonna
what,
go for rats, you know what I mean?
I live on Oak. I haven't seen one either, thank God. But
Seriously.
I will tell you, I did investigate the wall at Oak, and I did, and every year at that corner, either at the corner where the driveway is, we have a large infestation. The exterminator said they're burrowed into those walls. Now, whether they're
It's
eating,
gonna get worse during construction.
well, when they open that up, it's gonna get worse, but we're baiting it very heavy right now.
Okay.
Okay, so we're doing whatever we can, so you see.
Not there since '92. I've not seen a rat.
Let's
I've seen a
hope-
lot of deer now. You know
Let's,
what I mean?
I know,
Great stuff.
let's hope you stay that way.
You know, yeah.
Next. Anybody? Ma'am?
Carol,
Carol, you,
I'm
you're
good.
good?
What's the status of our ability to use the field? I apologize if there was a notice that I didn't receive. Why are we having fireworks on Saturday and not on the 4th of July? Does that have anything to do with the construction?
It has everything to do with it. What happened originally was, we worked to try to get the fireworks consultant that had our 4th of July date. We could not get a field last year. You have to sign it the year you're leaving. So when the gentleman's leaving that day, he wants a commitment for the following year. If you look back a year ago, we didn't know what was going on. And the school district was reluctant to issue that out. When we came to around, I guess it was around February, March, Chief and I started looking around. We were able to find a vendor that will be able to provide an aerial view that everyone in Clifton, we drove them all over Clifton. And from where they're at, they're going to be a higher power. But nobody can be on the site because we didn't know you could be on the site. But we had to move it to July 6th because no one is available on July 4th. But we felt strong enough that Clifton has longstanding, it's back there, longstanding tradition, probably longer than anyone. And we did not want to have a 4th of July in Clifton without some type of fireworks.
Is the use of the field going to be a problem going forward? Because we were promised that the use of the field would still be available to the agencies that use it now.
Well,
Yeah.
the fields will be, when John McLean said, at the end of the construction site, on the transfer of the use and occupancy for the occupancy of the school, simultaneously, the fields get deeded to the borough. From that point forward, all permitting, all use of the field belongs to Clifton Heights. So we anticipate being back there 3 4th of July from now for the
What
celebration.
about the ball games and things like that as well?
The ball games have been arranged through the boys club off-site as well as the PAL during the construction. They can't play baseball. on the
Right,
road.
Yeah, but once-
I'm referring to after.
Yeah, once the fields are constructed, the borough will own them. And so we will allow the school district to use the fields during the school day for gym or whatever, their purposes might be. But other than that, I mean, it will be completely up to the borough. Nights, weekends, all year round. I mean, it will be our land.
Good.
And then also the use of the gym will not have a fee associated with the boys and youth clubs except for paying for the janitor of the building like every other school has. Next.
Mr. Mancusi, this page was excerpted from the original traffic study, April 24, 2019, which there was no traffic study done since then. It's 5 years old. And Oak Avenue and proposed driveway required that 250 feet, proposed that 50 feet. How do you explain compressing 250 feet into 50 feet?
Well, I'm not an engineer like you are, but JP can answer
Well, you're
that.
not an engineer.
Well,
Right.
we do have a separate consultant that the borough used for traffic studies, and he has gone through this. But this is a
Hold on,
model
hold on.
that was
Yeah,
generated.
no kidding, it's a problem.
The borough did hire a traffic engineer to review the traffic concerns throughout the entire process. So he's been on board for the past 4 or 5 years. I believe that this is from a traffic impact study, not a traffic study itself, but just the impact. And this does show a model. And we have worked with the PennDOT officials and our traffic consultant. Originally, the original engineer, we worked with them also. We also worked with the Gilmore consultant. Ultimately, you have to fit the best scenario into the provisions and/or conditions that you already have. This does not necessarily say that you need 250 feet of queuing for this model to comply. In fact, I think what's being referred to here is northbound right turn to required length. So if you're northbound and you're going to make a right turn, Oaks to Springfield.
Right.
Right, finish.
This says Oak Ave proposed driveway 250 to 50, and that's just a chart out of a standard
And
book.
what does it state? What does it state? You go up Springfield Road, you turn right onto Oak Avenue, you got 50 feet.
Well, I don't know that this
There's-
particular,
Just listen to me now. You know, you keep interfering. You drive up Springfield Road, you turn
Rich,
right on
they're
Oak
answering
Lane.
your question. You need to let them answer your question.
It's not answering.
It's cause and effect.
You try, what they're saying, northbound on Oak Lane, Springfield Road, turning on Oak Lane. You drive up Springfield Road, you turn right onto Oak Lane, and then you go up 50 feet, and there's a proposed driveway. You're gonna cut a driveway at 50 feet up, that's gonna run back and back of the school.
This isn't the model that we're following. That's what,
That
Mr. Kelly's
describes what's
explaining to
gonna
you.
happen. Now you're gonna,
no, he just explained to you this is not the model that we're using. This was a
it
previous.
doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. You're gonna cut a driveway.
I'm sorry you're not
50 feet
happy
up.
with the answer.
And
I
then
need you
got-
to give
that's
other,
right.
All right,
I
Freddie,
need you to give
Freddie,
other
go to the next.
neighbors an
No,
opportunity
no,
to
no, you
speak.
got it. It's
Hold on,
one
Freddie.
time
Mr.
you can't
Rich.
do it.
If you
It's
listen,
impossible.
You need to-
drive
you
up
can't
Springfield
allow
Road,
others
you
to
turn right
speak.
on Oak Lane.
All right,
And we're
Chief,
talking
can you
about
please ask
what was
Mr. Rich?
proposed is 300 to 350 vehicles. Anything from a Fiat to a tractor trailer. The tractor trailer turned right onto Oak Lane,
Right.
turning 180 degree, a tractor trailer exiting onto Sycamore Avenue.
thank you,
It
Freddie.
can't be done. It's gonna be turned down.
Thank you. I'm
I
sorry.
hope you got it.
Go ahead.
There's no hope for that. It's physically impossible.
All right, thank you.
All the
Frank.
thousands, millions of dollars are spent.
Mr. Rich, please, you need
You
to
go ahead.
allow
It's
others.
gonna be turned down.
Hi,
It's
I'm Laura
physically
Barrett. I live at
Hi,
18
Laura.
West Wingcliff
Thank
Avenue. Me and my neighbors, et cetera, we're gonna be living behind, I guess, your drain operation in the back there. Right, West Wingcliff Avenue behind,
Right.
rear of the field, right?
Gotcha.
So, first I wanted to see the fencing.
Mr. Rich,
It's gonna go around the whole perimeter,
Yes.
right? And that's
Mr.
gonna
Rich.
include
Hold on.
all of our back fences into the field too.
No, if there, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, JP, if there's a fence there, not yours,
Wait,
if the school district,
wait, can you, I couldn't hear, can you repeat that, please?
I said our houses have fences that are on the field. What are
Correct.
gonna be, what's gonna happen with that area?
okay, if you have a personal fence,
Mhm.
there'll be a construction fence put in front of it, so we don't damage your
What type
fence.
of construction?
They're
fence is
using
it?
I would think they're gonna use the
Is
portable
it, I
fence.
just am more worried about am I gonna see the construction or is it gonna be?
No, it's
closed off? It's either it's gonna be
temporary.
closed off.
It's a temporary visual fence.
So we won't be able to see everything behind that's going on behind it, right?
Yeah, you will. Temporary, it's a
Gotcha,
cyclone
it's just a
fence
regular, okay,
with poles on
okay,
Like the type of fence that goes around where the old poultry shop
Okay.
was?
got
it.
it,
It's there now.
got it.
Did you want it closed? Because some of the neighbors have fences up there.
Well, we do, but
Right.
they're chain link, so we
Yeah,
can,
that's gonna
you know,
stay- it's
or
gonna
I
look
have
like that.
bushes or
Right.
whatnot there. Are there gonna be overnight generators, at nighttime during construction? Like you said, that there will be security measures, will be generators,
For what?
the lighting and things like that. So we'll have generators running at different quadrants of the field.
No.
I don't believe so. The cameras are gonna be, probably low light, ambient light cameras that are able to see in the evening and night hours
Okay.
with the ambient light that's gonna be on the field. And they're usually ran through the power supply that the school district's gonna provide on the location, not a generator.
Not a generator. Okay, all right. So we're not gonna base, because you said like noise ordinances, that's fine, but I mean, I was wondering about any overnight security, et cetera. I think that's it. And these, the back of the area with the digging here, and where you're gonna put the drains back there, that will all be closed off, no access, right? And that will be more of a, the picture in the beginning of the trees and all, that's kind of what you're gonna be putting back there in the field.
They have landscape at the end, yes,
Okay.
not during.
Yeah.
Right. At the end, there's landscaping plan throughout the whole site.
Right, that's the main drainage system,
No, it's not the main,
Yeah,
it's a
or the-
por- it's just a portion.
a portion, okay. So is there any recommendations for us folks who are living back there with any excessive maybe water disturbances or anything to our already water sealed basements?
What's proposed up in that area is on fill. So the bottom of the existing grade you see now shouldn't change much.
Okay.
It'll take a foot, but it will not be below your basement elevation.
Okay, okay, got it. All right, thank you, that's it, appreciate it.
Next.
Going up into, off of Windcliff, there's an opening there to go
She's
up and-
22 Wingcliff, sorry. She's
I
I know, I was there,
meters.
yeah, the tree and the paving, yes, that's remains closed. And everything JP and I can tell, we just had this discussion last week, we don't believe it's included in any of the project at all. It's a separate deeded property, or we looked this up last week, what did you find?
Yeah, because you know what, they've been there for 40 years.
Right.
And we've always told them, move our cars and whatnot, if we park them, when it was just.
Active, right.
But then we had gotten, when we talked to the Darby about it, just we wanted to get rid of that tree.
Mhm.
And then they said, well, that's all your land.
It is not shown, correct me if I'm wrong, John, you also, it is not shown on any of our plans. They actually go around just like it is now, that fence will remain.
But there's an opening, so I was just wondering, I didn't know whether that.
It's not shown in any access for construction or whatever, and that fence gets replaced with, at the end, all the fencing is black. It'll be like black fencing.
So the whole
That-
perimeter, like the whole chain link.
Yeah, it all gets
fences?
taken out, right.
What with the residents' backyard, not the residents' backyards?
I wouldn't think so.
No?
If there's a fence, I'll tell you what,
It's only a few houses
Yeah, write that
that
down,
have
Joe.
that fence, that
Write
have the
that.
fences in that corner. back
I
there.
believe, from what he told us, JP, they were fencing the entire area in black, the nicer black cyclone fence.
Okay.
So then that gate's there because it's an in and out.
It's an emergency exit, basically, you know.
So that'll just stay open as you install.
I believe, with me and JP will check that. The indication I got is they're going to remove the entrance in and out, because there's no entrance in there, they're right in the room. Yeah, so they'll be removing that entrance. They don't seem anything on that driveway at all. So we'll write it down, and I'll talk to John after, give me your name and number, and I'll verify that for them. We've asked the question, and they just
Are
don't
there gonna
say.
be any entry points onto the field from any of the Windcliff or Sycamore there?
Yes, when I get,
Just sort of
so-
like public access in the future?
at Windcliff, we were able to push them to have a gated entrance for emergency vehicles and widen the track from 6 feet to 8 feet. So there's a ramp that goes right at the bottom of the wall, right near Peggy Moran's house at the driveway. We can bring an ambulance in that way, or exit an ambulance out that way, and that goes all the way down to the parking lot of the field that has a ramp. So that anything that happens on the field, an ambulance could be directly, or emergency vehicle could be directly on the field, and go either right or left to be able to get an injured player over there off the field.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, well, no, I guess obviously we can just talk about the walking in and out, you know, that's.
That's at that entrance.
That back
There's
end
another
is
one
there.
behind, off Oak Avenue, and the one at the Boys Club entrance remains. All right, next. All right, let's go all the way down, you, sir.
Tell me some, Northwest Wing, but I guess most of the concerns are being addressed. You know, I don't know if I'm confident, you know, like I've heard that they're gonna have to take like 3 feet off that field for putting astroturf in there.
No AstroTurf. It's a regular field, grass field. Yeah. And just so we thinking, we've hired a contractor. The contractor we hired was actually the gentleman that created Citizens Bank Park Field. He started his own consulting company. He's consulting with us about the type of grasses and future maintenance, and also sprinkler systems and lighting. So he's working with us now. But the borough assumes it, so we don't want to assume there's always a grass.
Andy Murphy, 210 Wincliff. I was wondering that if there's gonna be entrance there for people going to field, are they gonna be like parking on Wincliff to go through this?
The Wincliff is an emergency, I'm sorry, the Wincliff is an emergency entrance.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
right.
people can't, so pedestrians can.
I don't believe so. We only did that as an emergency, correct? For, Jim? That was only an emergency entrance, correct? Yeah, we
think it's
don't have to-
gated.
It's a gate, it's gated with fire department access.
Okay, and what about like, because they kind of use that as a cut through now from Walnut going up there, is that gonna be, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of traffic coming through there to
Well,
avoid that?
Right now, I'll let the chief talk on this, 90% of the people that we end up having a problem with in residential streets are our own neighbors. All right, so we're gonna try to, how that pattern gets, in my experience, is as long as we try to keep Springfield Road moving and don't detour and shut it down where they end up finding shortcuts to Sycamore, and Wickliffe, and Oak Avenue, the better off we are as a borough. During it, our police are out there all the time, we do the best we can, but 90% of that traffic, you know, is residents going to work or coming back from work. And we're our own worst enemies, you know, if you run those tags, most of these people are residents either in Westbrook Park, up where I live, or cutting through the Drexel Hill. I mean, there's a reason why they're back in there, they're not, you know, pizza, right?
No, I was just curious, when the school and everything, are they working on there, to go in?
Well, the school has to park their teachers on site. We are working with Park Mobile, and we're also working with council to try to come up with methods, because you know where a school is, they park on side streets. I mean, we all went to Darby High School getting tickets on school lane, right? We're seniors. So we want to try to prohibit that, and that's like other meetings, so we got to really concentrate on traffic. And JP is, we have a traffic grant in to DCED for $50,000 to be able to evaluate this area about traffic flow as well as parking. So that should be, hopefully we get awarded that maybe in October, I think. Yeah.
And
All right, thank you.
there's stipulations about construction workers not parking in
That's
our
correct.
neighborhoods.
Suzanne brought a good point. We made a stipulation, no construction worker can park on any street. So they're either going to make an arrangement with the church or park on, first thing when they cut in is their existing parking where they're going to do now for construction workers will ultimately be their parking lot. And they can fit 75 cars, I think it was, JP. Also, if something happens, we can also offer them the borough parking lot, if they have a large crew coming in to assemble desks or something like that, and they can funnel them up there. Yes, sir.
Frank Revere Road. I got a few questions. I've met a lot of ideas, a lot of these answered some of my questions previously, but back in Revere, right, when the temporary fence is put up, it seems like you'll only be able to pull down the driveway, but not even physically be able to make a U-turn. But also the trash truck would almost have to back down the driveway if they put that construction fence where it is, and they put that bus lane there. It's basically right behind my house. The question is, number one, where do we park? But I've already asked that numerous times. How do we, like just pulling under my deck, I gotta swing out. Like the parking there, I mean, is there any traffic study on that, on the back of that road?
The back driveway, we've spoken to trash trucks, we've had 3 other driveways in the borough that they back down and pick up trash and drive out.
But
Just,
as far as like the parking getting so tight there, like just pull, in other words, you pull down the driveway, go on your deck, now you gotta, to go back out. There's usually you pull at the bottom of the street, and you turn, you can't do that anymore. At the bottom of the
but
road.
in the back of your property, there's, I believe there's like 8 feet on the other side of the driveway where that fence is going to be. I don't know, but there's not much we can do. We tried everything possible to deal with that, and there's not much, that's all private matter with the owners.
And you were saying about the debris, if there's any debris, like the debris behind the houses seems to be on that property in the school parking lot property.
Mhm.
That gets hauled for free. Are they, you know, where the, you were saying, I don't know, it's about rodents, you would find people, they remove the shed and there's some debris behind the shed. I didn't have the shed, but there is some debris back there.
Anything-
It seems to be on their property. not ours.
Anything on their property, it will be gone.
Right, yeah, that's
Right,
one,
right.
that's not,
Yeah.
you know.
The fence will go up and they'll take it away.
And the last point was, on December 15th, they made everybody move the sheds 10 days before Christmas. I thought that was pretty bad there.
I know.
That's basically an asshole move, to make people move their sheds, pay money 10 days before Christmas, when they blatantly knew the construction wouldn't start until January or February or March. Just seems like a bully move to my poor neighbors, basically.
I
don't have
understand.
shit.
I've,
I just thought I'd get that out there. I know it's not you guys,
No, but-
and your lawyers.
I hear you.
All
I got
that. It's just speaking my mind.
those notices went out without our knowledge, and we would have stepped in.
Yeah, I know you guys are doing it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when are you gonna start working on there, and do they work on daytime, all daytime?
All daytime,
What time do they start?
they're gonna start arriving around 7 o'clock in the morning.
7 o'clock in the morning, and they get done what time?
I usually do roll around there at 3
3
o'clock, 3:30. Yeah, 3 or 3:30, you workers usually get finished up.
Start around 7.
Yeah, that's, they remember, the construction works, don't take it wrong, guys, you gotta get there, you gotta get the coffee, you gotta move, start the engines on the trucks,
They're gonna go to work.
we're good to go. I would say by 7:30, they're gonna be rocking.
But they're not shutting down any road or,
Any, we're not closing any roads, you will have some detours. Yes, sir, man. Okay.
Hi, my name's Amanda Collins. I live on Church Street, at the corner there.
Mhm.
During rainstorms, the water, I live in a basement apartment.
Sheet flows.
So there's a lot of.
Yeah, so
plumbing
you're,
To begin with,
yes.
houses, is it gonna affect?
Inlet's all the way up. Church.
Your condition's gonna be greatly improved. Just currently, there are no inlets or control comes right off the field, just right down Church. Years ago, you probably.
You go to
walked
church.
back to a swale and
You go to church.
Church. And this is all the stormwater from the site, and additional stormwater on Springfield Road is gonna be controlled now. And it's gonna be diverted through the system that
No, it's Springfield.
Wayne explained,
Oh, you don't haul.
diverted down to the control. So your improvement is gonna be great, your condition is gonna be greatly.
Thank
down on North Church, they're talking me down on the rainwater that we get now.
Yes.
We can't
Yes.
walk in the street.
That's it.
Yes.
Go up to the intersection. John's gonna bring it up, Jim. So on those corners, you'll see some inlets, correct? JP?
You will, in fact, that intersection we talked about, that's gonna be reconfigured. Instead of coming off at a weird angle, that the church is gonna be perpendicular and so will,
Prospect.
Prospect.
Sorry, Prospect will change. There will be stormwater inlets at that intersection. There'll be stormwater inlets across the road also on Springfield. So the stormwater that you're currently getting now, you're not gonna see that. You can see regular stormwater, don't get me wrong, it's like being dry on the rain, but the stormwater currently coming off the field is gonna be controlled and into a new stormwater system, and then diverted down Springfield Road all the way to Baltimore and Springfield, which will also have additional inlets to pick up stormwater. So between Oak, all the way down to Baltimore, the new stormwater system.
Okay? Thank you. Next. Nothing?
I got a question again.
Hold on, I'll come back, I'm gonna do it with the Zoom. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. You answered, that was a huge question I had. That was, North Church Street is, there's no drainage there.
There's a silver lining in this project, it's the folks on Church are not gonna get nearly as much stormwater as they have.
Another problem we have is, I think we can all agree, thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you for your time.
I think we can all agree that quality of life in our neighborhood is just not what it was when we grew up here. It's not what it was when we moved here, or whatever. With the addition of this school, which cause more problems. People, kids need a place to go, they need a place to go to school. I understand that. I'm not sure that this is anything you guys can answer, but how do we make sure that it's our kids and our tax dollars that are going to educate our kids?
John, can
Kids are
you?
coming into that school,
Right.
what areas?
John, can you?
So the catchment area that the school district has planned for, their plan for who would go would be Primacy King, Clifton Heights, and the Garriford area. Those would be the three areas, and Penn Pines area down that way. That's the catchment area for the students that would attend here. There is a limit. I mean, as part of the negotiations, we were successful in, we very much wanted to make sure that there was a limit to the number of students. They're going to be limited to 800. Now compare that to Drexel Hill Middle School, that's about 1,400, 1,500, and Beverly Hills Middle School, that's about 1,300, 1,400. So it will be a greatly reduced number of students from, you know, the catchment area that is in the, I'll call it the western end of the district, you know, basically around us.
Okay, well, my son went to Westbrook Park Elementary School, and he went to National Hill Middle School, and he went to Albury High School. And received a great education, gave him a good footing and foundation for life. But I drove him to every birthday party he went to, and I never drove him to a birthday party in Drexel Hill. I never drove him to a birthday party in Westbrook Park. This is what I'm saying, is there some kind of control method? There used to be a control method. Upper Darby High School used to have a truant officer that rode me out.
Well, I mean, they still do. I mean, that is the school district's responsibility. I mean, we can, as the borough, be vigilant, you know, to see who gets dropped off or where people come from, and then report that to the district. But yeah, I mean, that really is up to the district. I don't know if Ms. Haig, the school district director of Clifton, is, whether she came tonight or not. What's that? Oh, she's not there. Is the school director here from Clifton Heights? Brittany Williams? No, she could perhaps answer, but that's a responsibility of the school district.
We do field calls, I'd say 2 to 3 times a week from the truant office, I'm sorry, from the administration building about who lives in town and where these children are living. So they are proactive on that.
Okay, next. Ma'am, nothing?
I just have a question, not about the school. I live at 417 North Oak, and I just noticed yesterday I have at the telephone pole, I had no parking for your corner. I could like really, I don't know when it went up, why it went up.
417 North, so right above Mulmore Pike. That's been up for about 2 or 3 months. There's trucks parking on that corner.
Okay.
There was trucks parking on that corner blocking the view from Prospect. Yes.
Well, I just noticed it yesterday, the first time when I go, what happened?
Yeah, that's what happened.
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
because I just noticed it.
Yeah, there's some truck issues going on there, so we're trying to, safety. Yes. Yes.
I'm at 230 North Sycamore Avenue.
Okay.
And my question, I guess, is like the traffic flow. I'm like right in the, the field side, I'm at the field or goal post, and on the, on Sycamore Avenue, I'm right in the middle.
Okay. Is it the visiting team or the?
So basically, my question is like parking, because we don't have any backyard
Yards,
parking.
right.
That is our parking. And when the school opens up, especially, I'm glad that Garrettford is coming, but I imagine that Garrettford, all those kids are going to be dropped off in front of our house, or I don't know. And then also, like, my pet peeve is like that car right there is going the opposite
Opposite
direction.
direction, right.
We always go
Mhm.
Oak
Yeah.
Avenue or
Got it.
just, but is there going to be any like traffic patterns that only people can go down Sycamore Avenue? Is it going to affect me coming home from work or?
If you recall earlier, I said that JP and I the council has applied for a grant for a traffic study for the entire area. I just know from experience, you start changing things, every cause has an effect. So if I fix something on Sycamore, Cambridge is gonna have, so we need somebody to really look at it with models. They have computers to do this, take traffic counts and all that, and then we can come and meet as a group and try to, you know, remember, I always said, we don't live there, you
I'm
do.
afraid that I'm not gonna be able to get out. And
You get
also, I'm afraid that my car
Right.
is going to be hit for the tip time.
Okay.
in
Thanks.
28 years.
There used to be a stop sign there on that street. That's
Stop sign is, a stop sign in the middle of the street is illegal. So if there's an accident there, the borough is liable.
Can help from that blind
Yeah.
curve.
Yeah, and remember that,
Hold
when for drop-offs will be at the back of the school, so they have to go in the driveway off of North Oak. As they come out the driveway on the Sycamore, they may only make a right, and go out at 5 Points intersection there. They're not gonna be able to make a left and come up your way.
through there. Most of the people from Garriford will probably come down through Westbrook Park, past my house, or West Park Lane, come in that way and go the other way. They can come down Sycamore, but they can only make a right out, so, all right, next. Okay. Next, sir,
The biggest
No.
concern is I live on Revere Road.
okay,
The,
hold a second.
Springfield roadside. Guys, man, you're not gonna be able to get down on gravel.
We've had him up there and he's,
And he can't back out. He can pull out and make the turn, he get back on the Revere Road, but he cannot back down and get around that turn.
well, he's done it, but.
Unless they widen
Right.
that alley up.
Well, let me give you, there's two options we have, and I've had this happen, we have two other streets like this. We can either put our trash out front, or we let him back down, it's his responsibility. He has a small truck, that's his problem. We have a contract that says he has to go pick that trash up. If he decides to take the 40-yarder instead of the 12-yarder, then it's his problem. He's gotta use a small truck, that's what he has, that's what he does behind Springfield Road. He takes the small truck. So he has the capability of doing it. It's on him. It's not your problem or our problem. He has a contract. He will get down that driveway. He chooses to take the big truck now because he can, cut through the field and all the stuff he does.
Okay.
But he did a contract that says that if he has to walk down there and pick the can up himself and carry it out, that's on him. All right. We gotta go this way. Ma'am, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, the only issue that happened about the parking, the left-hand turn on Oak is they tried to crunch too much stuff and it knocked out all the driveways on Oak Avenue where the residents live, and they wouldn't be able to get out of driveways in the park. It was a mess. Right? Sir, next one. Right here, sir. A gray shirt. Yes. Yeah. Anything? Okay. Next. Red shirt. Yes. How's it going to affect? Hold on, I can't really hear. What is that?
live at 423 North Shore Road. I have 4 parking places from that.
Okay.
It's a real pain for that. I just wonder, when they support, close that road down, or, you know, keep Springfield Road all the way open?
I mean, during the construction, they have to keep the roads open. Yeah.
Well, how about the taxes? Raise the taxes?
We've been able to, look, that's a school district issue. We've held the taxes here for as long as I can remember. So that's definitely, we're not gonna raise the taxes because it's school. So you're above Oak about,
Is the house right here?
yeah, that's, they're not even up there, right? Not even affected. Monty? Right. Oh, thanks. Karen?
Just for on Revere Road, will they put additional signage that's going to say no exit, no, it's a dead end, or cul-de-sac? Because with the new street going in, they're going to think they.
Is that right? Yeah, we'll put something up that says that. And we're also in the traffic study looking at ways that residents have priority. Okay, come on, I'm almost there. Getsy, am I in the right row? Mike?
What?
I am here. You got something?
Thanks for coming, Mike.
Yeah, Brett. Oh, wait a minute. I got Ed. Go ahead.
My main concern is the front demolition of everything. Tear down the snack bar, the house and stuff, all 10 feet away from the house. So tear that down, there's a retaining wall.
Just so you know, the snack bar JP's working on, we're either gonna modify that and make it part, that's us. So we'll be in touch with you. That's not the guy coming with the bulldozer. Yes. I see. Yeah. We'll be in touch with you. We're handling that project for the Boys Club. We're not letting them design that building. Well, not happening. Okay, all right? Not gonna, Brett?
I was just wondering if that wall's going to be rebuilt or new walls going to be put up.
I asked that question again. They're gonna repoint that wall. I believe that's staying existing. Down further, it kind of gets cut in to the driveway. But I believe they're gonna use, try to keep the aesthetics of a lot of, especially with Clifton and that one. Yeah, I am too. I think a new one would look too. All right, next, sir.
Yeah, so I'm on North Sycamore, so you're gonna pave the whole street and do it or not?
On the north side of Sycamore.
Yeah, I'm on that 207. How up from me?
Yeah, they won't do the residential sidewalks.
No.
They'll do the, along their own property in some of those areas, yeah.
And they're gonna repave the street there?
If they disturb the street, they have to repave the street. I don't know if that's on our, it's not on our paving program now. No. Yeah. I mean, I think that was done pretty recently, 5 years or so. Next.
Hey, Brett's got one more question, Tom. They sent me a thing saying they were gonna replace my corner and some of my sidewalks. Will they notify me before they come in and do that?
Who said that?
I got something in the mail, said they wanted to redo the whole handicap there.
Is that us?
Make it ADA compliant, I guess.
Was that? Tell you what, Brett, let me look in, there's so many files, let me pull it. It could be, if they have to do work on your property, they're required to send notice. How long ago was that? Possible. JP's gonna look it up and let us know.
I don't have a problem.
I understand, well, okay, I got it. Next. Back row.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's any plans, I'm on North Sycamore next to Kathy, one person for you guys. I'm wondering, A, if there's any chance of like getting lines painted on the street parking so people don't park like in the middle of spaces and limit how many people can park there. And then two, if there's any chance of getting access to like getting back alley in while they're figuring back paths to get out added behind our houses. And then 3, if the plans in general will be available.
This will be available on website tomorrow. Any other additional plans, you always stop in or ask for them, we'll get them. Question 1, that goes to the traffic study about lines and what, spaces and all that. Number 2, I'm not sure how we would even begin to think about putting a rear alley in with all the neighbors, where we come in, how we go out, and all that.
Already a driveway off the end, so if we would, like, which needs an alley right behind our fence, basically, then we wanted to.
It would definitely require, that would be a private matter. Like, we don't own all the alleys. So they're all owned by the residents, but not owned by us.
I'm saying like where the field is.
Right.
Like on the edge of our properties, there's a fence and then a field.
Right.
But there's already a driveway, like a shared driveway to get to our access, but our access right now is just.
It's a cartway here.
It's a cartway, right? Yeah. Sure.
Right here.
Right. I don't know the answer to that. Stop me. So I'll,
So we'll talk to you about it.
right. Go ahead.
Well,
That's a neighbor,
well,
if we can assist, we can, but if we can't, we can't. That's just, Yes? Okay. Back to you.
Yeah, listen, I got a question. When do you plan on starting?
We're probably within a couple of weeks. What do you think, John?
I think it's gonna be more than a couple of weeks.
Like sometime in the summer?
Yes.
Okay. And second question I got, these rats, okay? Now listen, if this becomes like a problem, we're responsible for it?
No,
They
you're
come on the property?
If,
Did I hear you wrong? Because listen,
here's what happens, this is how we do it, borough wide. If we have a call that there's an infestation, rats or mice,
okay,
we respond with our exterminator to the sewers and public areas, because we have to watch kids.
what about the property?
I'm getting there. Then on the private property, we do all of a survey to make sure there's nothing there that's bringing this on, debris, everything else. However, we are not permitted under law to bait your property, it's private property.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm just saying, if we get an infestation because they're digging,
right,
the school district gonna pay for that, man.
well, they're paying, they have to pay.
No, even on the property.
They won't go. I'm just saying, I know what, but remember, they don't, just because the rat's running doesn't mean he has a license plate that says where he came from. So we don't know where it came from you or it came from us.
Listen, I haven't seen any rats.
And I hope it stays that way. I'm real close to you, so if you get one, he's heading my way, so we'll work.
And another thing too about the taxes, right? You guys have an idea what they're gonna go up.
They said it.
You can't sit here and tell us no.
No,
That's how the school got built.
the question was, the question was,
Nobody.
are we gonna raise
Beat around
taxes?
the bush about that.
No, I can tell you, they're gonna raise it, they were at the meeting. Suzanne
Yeah, it's
knows
going
this.
about 150 each year.
This
That's what, see, that's the thing about this school, because everybody beats around the taxes, man. And that was
Um,
the winner,
Here.
you know?
So
That's all.
at the the budget proposal at one of the recent meetings for the upcoming school year, the proposed increase is 3%. Now, what happens after that, I couldn't say for sure, because I think originally when they put out the information for this, the price tag for the school was lower, and it ended up being higher. So I'm not positive as to whether or not they've released updated figures on what the tax impact was going to be. But just for their operating budget for this upcoming year, the proposal is 3%. And I believe the end of June is when they finalize that and vote on that. But that's the school district that's doing that,
Yeah,
if that's helpful.
sure it does, you know what I mean?
Hold on.
So the school district was required to have a hearing last, I think it was October, to talk with the public about the finance part of it. Not a real sexy thing, not a whole lot of people, go to it, but they said the millage impact, so this is going to be about $125, $130 million total for everything. They're going to borrow money in 3 sets of tranches, as they call it, as they go along, because it's going to take, this long to do it. They expect that it's going to go up a total of 2.28 mils. Do you know what what their millage rate is total. And I'm trying to find what the total millage rate is. If you bear with us just 1 second, we're looking that up.
Is there a time of completion estimated time for 2 years?
Right, JP, about 2 years.
My son's going to 3rd grade, hurry up.
They, it's a little different than the other school because there's nothing.
We're
else.
gonna do it.
There won't be anything interfering with the construction because we have the Hooper School close, so it'll just be a straight bill. So there's no.
John, click on that 2024 tax rates for the county. No, not on the district. Go back to, there you go.
You see up above there for school.
Yeah, Upper Door,
So they're at 25 mills.
Yep.
And they're going to raise it. It'll roughly cost 2.28 mils. So you're looking at about 10%.
Over 3 years.
Yeah, 10% over a few
10%
years.
over a few years. So, all right, so we listed everything out. We're going to continue to keep in communication. There will be a newsletter going out in summer. All right, let's do one more. Go ahead.
I have brought this up for the last 10 years, and I think everybody sitting here knows there are way too many children in our district that don't belong here. And I, for one, am tired of paying the taxes for other children to go to our schools. And the question for me is, I believe, and I may be wrong about these numbers, Prairie High School was built in the house 2,000 students. There's over 4,000 in there. How are we gonna prevent that from happening in this middle school?
John had said there's a limit on 800. We have a right to audit each year the census of the school. So they were very strong in limiting the amount of students that go here.
Is that a forever deal?
Forever. It'll be recorded.
It's gonna be a restriction
Then how
in the
did it get
deed.
so out of
It'll
control
be in
in
the
high
deed.
school?
Well, if you go to a school board and you listen, we can spend 10 hours on the school district. There's multitude of reasons. I dealt with it. Federal government, homeless population, we can go on and on and on, but we're not going to solve that tonight. What we're here to do tonight is work as a community to make sure that what does happen here, council, the mayor, my staff, everybody works together to make sure whatever happens here, it's in Clifton Heights, and we do it right and do it to make sure that your homes are protected, to make sure that the safety of the students walking through here and the community and come out of here with a nice field to deal with and a school that, that ultimately we can be proud of and live with. Ultimately, it's going, like I said when I got here, I was brought here, it's going to happen. So you can talk about what ifs and all that. What I've concentrated with our staff and John, and we talk about this 10 times a day, is to make sure that whatever was going to happen with our experience and the professionals we have, it's going to be done to the quality that we expect here in Clifton Heights. And that has happened. We've had successful projects coming online. R2K, the Kmart renovation, things are happening positively here. Council just awarded 25 new park benches for the streets, all iron, black, nice looking, with trash cans, 25 trash cans that are going to be installed. We have pickleball courts going in, we have a dog park going in. We're doing a lot of positive things, and all this should accumulate to a positive for the borough. So, we all lived here a long time, and I think it's going to be something we have to deal with. So,
Fireworks next year?
fireworks, Rock and I have developed a pretty good rapport with this guy because we run around here now. So it'll be Rock and I standing in the gated community of the field when we fire them off, probably the mayor and a couple council. But the following year, we should be able to contract him. The difficulty is his specialists that deal in the shelves that will be able to project high are very limited in his staff. So we've talked to him, he's going to get us on the radar for next year for 4th of July. 4th of July next year, this is leap year, by the way, so next year it'll be Friday night, 4th of July. But that's why this is the only available date that we can find anybody to have for what we were trying to accomplish to maintain Clifton's, the parade also, so everyone knows, is reversing. So the parade will start at Church Street and end up at Cap down off of Marple Avenue, near the Clam Tavern.
Next year?
Well, probably while the school's going on, because we don't want to attract everybody at the school with the fence and in the street and all.
So then no flea market up there.
No more for the
Water
month.
ice.
Yeah, we can't do, water ice is, yeah, we'll have water
On the
ice.
other end.
Yeah, down the other end.
Great for grandkids.
Yeah, all that, all the rest, other than the flea market,
Goes down.
everything else is the same, we're just coming down this way. I can take two more, we'll go over here.
There's nobody better to answer this question on the deal. Historically or protectively, what does it do to property values?
I can look at it both sides of the glass, but I can tell you this. If you're looking at moving somewhere, and if you're looking at living here, would you rather put your child on a bus to go to Drexel Middle School, if you know what happens at Drexel Middle School, or would you rather have them walk out the front door 2 blocks away and play in the same courtyard that you played football in? To me, I think it's a strong value. I wasn't involved with the fight, I was married at the time. We tried other sites, I can tell you they exhausted every site you could possibly imagine for the school. But living here 66 years, I would love to send my 2 girls around the corner to the elementary school. I mean, to the
I'd like
middle
to
school.
send my kid to the school with his neighbor.
Yeah, right, right, and that's the other thing, so, you know, I think ultimately it'll be a value to the community. I mean, if you look at some statistics, our stores are struggling, it's going to add teachers here, hoagie shop, you might end up some other shops there instead of the, transient shops that we have now, people will shop there. If you look along where the high school is, Mayor's Deli, Casey's, there's other opportunities that can occur as a result of this. So it's going to bring money, local dollars back into the community, I think. It's probably going to be, how many, John, 60 staff, probably?
Probably about 100 staff there.
You know, staff members and things like that. I had somebody have one over here, we'll finish it up. 2? All right, go ahead.
Hey, Tom, you look good.
Thank you.
Is that your question?
You can have any more of them?
She's buttering him up for something. She's buttering him up for something.
Right on the line.
Recovery without barriers.
Yes.
Tina Hamilton, God bless you.
God bless your soul.
I sat next to you at at Anthony's when they first proposed this, and you were opposed to this originally. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, but at the time I was opposed to it, they didn't know where they were landing it also, so.
Well, now, you told me, you were the mayor at the time, whatever, you said, Rose, I live on West Wincliffe.
Mhm.
You said, they are gonna raise your taxes.
I said
"Oh,
that.
sure. But like Chris said, we didn't have numbers.
We also remember one thing, as a mayor, as elected official opposed to appointed official, I get paid to make sure that everything's good here. As a mayor, I was representing my constituents, so
I know.
that was a,
I'm just
kind of
saying,
tricky.
originally you were
Right.
opposed to this project.
but, you know,
Neither or, I mean.
times change, I reviewed it, and that's
It is
it.
what it is.
One more?
Parking lot is gonna be at Oak and Springfield, right?
Yes,
Who parks there?
school teachers, and then at night it'd be open for the fields.
And the buses don't go in there.
Buses drop off in the front
On Springfield.
on Springfield.
Oh.
They just, yeah. They did the design after learning that they messed up the other 15 over the years. So you drop the kids off in the back through parents, because nobody walks to school anymore, everybody gets dropped off. So they do that, and then the buses are dropping off in the front. There's a bus lane in the front of the school. And I believe they're saying what they say that there are 5 buses at the max. We're working with the district to figure out what we're gonna do with the pickup kids during the construction now. Because they're hanging, they're right there, right? I try to keep meetings to an hour, because after an hour, everything goes south, so you can. Right now, they've been put on those to keep the grass cut. There's areas that did not. Right, on the fence. Yeah, I just spoke to him today about it, so I think they're playing with, we're gonna be bulldozing it, we're playing that you gotta maintain the property while we're waiting. Yeah, we'll push it again tomorrow, all right? Thank you, everyone. If anybody had a question that I said, answer, put your name and number up here, come on up.
Take care.
Thank you.
grab this traffic thing on my street. I know it wasn't completely related to here. It's just been a concern of ours for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, it's always been an issue of that.